DEVAS of Creation released yesterday, and I played it for over 6 hours straight and had a great time, but a lot of people didn't enjoy the game as much as me. Let's talk about why. So firstly, the biggest issue people complained about was the perceived pay-to-win elements in the game. The game is free to play, but does feature a lot of in-game purchases, and I think it's important to separate purely cosmetic, non-pay-to-win things, if you will, and stuff that actually impacts your progression. Even in the character creator, you can buy spins to unlock rare traits that give big bonuses. Now, this is pretty standard, and not having the rarest trait isn't going to impact your playthrough too much. Most people weren't complaining about this though. The biggest point of contention at the moment is mounts. The game's map is beautiful and expansive, but walking from one end to the other side can be tedious. Yes, there are waystone teleporters, but having even a horse mount makes exploration feel a lot more fun and less time consuming. You can buy a mount for around 300 Robux, and this is what I and many others did. Some might say this is pay to win, and it is to an extent. I think the biggest issue is how accessible mounts are. The quest to roll the mount is done between level 18 and level 21. Reaching this level takes hours of gameplay. That's hours that people are forced to walk from just one place to another. You can buy a mount from the in-game player marketplace, but these are few and far between at the moment, and no new player is gonna have enough to buy one. I think the mount quest is fine, as it is repeatable and offers a way to get multiple mounts moving forward as well. That being said, I think there should be a way for players to obtain a mount early in the game. Potentially, one of the early game quest givers could sell you a one-time pig pet, or maybe a stable in the main city could rent you out a temporary horse for a certain amount of in-game currency, like 1,000 per hour or something like this. Like, I'm picturing in your inventory it shows up as a stable horse rather than a horse, like an actual horse, and that one, it's a pretty large amount of in-game currency, maybe between like 2,000 to 3,000 just for the horse for an hour, at which point you then have to buy it again. So it's not sustainable at all, but it's a alternative to waiting to get your pet leveled up or to get level 20 for that quest. Like 1,000 per hour or something like this. Oh yeah, for those who don't know, pig and horse mounts bought as pets will eventually level up by siphoning off some of your XP and growing. Once they reach level 10, you can ride them like a normal mount. If I was a free-to-play player, I would probably just take full advantage of the in-game waystones to avoid having to walk as much or try to buy a pet off the marketplace. I think the developers should add a one-time option to either purchase a pig or a horse pet early game, or even a temporary alternative where players can buy a 1-hour horse from the stable in the main city. I think the temporary horse is a good solution since it isn't going to affect market prices or impact the current quest lines. Now, this temporary horse would not be tradable. Another thing you can buy with Robux is 2 times EXP and revive scrolls. Now, 2 times EXP isn't too important since most of the quests aren't level based, but instead are part of the overarching storyline or require you to kill a certain amount of NPCs to progress. Therefore, the main pay-to-win element here is revive scrolls. Yes, revive scrolls are impactful, but they can also be obtained in-game, and it's mostly just a convenience thing. That being said, imagine if you can't buy revive scrolls. You die, and then you have to walk, because mounts aren't accessible to level 18, all the way back to your quest on the other side of the map. That being said, I don't think the game is very pay to win. I think instead it's more pay for quality of life improvements. I have played alongside free-to-play players who have not only progressed faster than me, but also have much better loot than what I can buy with Robux. I think once it gets to late game, it will become even more apparent that the game isn't very pay to win, since mounts are really easy to get after level 20. Another point of contention is the in-game seasonal pass. The seasonal pass is accessible free to play, and you get bonuses from leveling up. However, there is a premium tier which offers much better loot, including powerful weapons and armor. For example, at level 24, premium players can get a pig pet, and then at later levels, they can get access to a random super rare weapon or an armor piece. This may seem very pay to win at first, but taking a closer look reveals that a lot of these items are a bit underlevel by the time you get the chest for them in the premium game pass. So for example, you might get an item that looks promising, but was actually obtainable like 20, 30 levels earlier than you're getting it in the game pass. So really, had you just grinded the boss, you probably end up with this item of a similar rarity or the item itself. Furthermore, they are still obtainable from in-game bosses. I think a lot of people who are complaining about pay to win haven't played the game a lot, since the difference becomes even less apparent at later levels, once you start to understand the whole teleportation mechanic, and also just the idea that you can get a pet and level it up as well. Another thing people have mentioned is map markers costing Robux. This just feels a bit unnecessary, and I would have liked to see this just be a part of the base map functionality. I'm going to quickly run through all the other in-game purchases now. Daily Reward Booster Pass is just a luck booster, and I wouldn't even say it's worth the Robux. Cosmetic Expansion Pass is exactly what it says on the tin. It's a purely cosmetic purchase. Collect All the Drop Pass is another one that should just be an in-game feature. Like, why can't we just collect all? It's a little bit strange there. I don't think it should be a game pass in the first place. Player Killer Radar is not too important, but I hope this item is craftable in-game as well. Quest Slots Expansion Pass is just quality of life for the most part, and the Drop Chest Radar is again pretty much quality of life, since for the most part, chests are really easy to find. Unique Clan Emblem Pass is just too expensive for what it is. 485 Robux is a bit much for what this is. It literally just allows you to upload your own custom clan icon, and again, it's purely cosmetic, so we can mostly disregard this one. Pet Name Shifting Pass is again, for the 8th time, another cosmetic pass. And then finally, we have the Baby Deva Guidance Pass, also cosmetic. You can also buy a mount chest, but the actual mount is a 1% drop, so you're better off just progressing in game for the mount, especially since these mounts will also start off as pets as well. You can also buy 2 times EXP and 2 times drop rate, but the 2 times drop rate on a drop plus 1% is still just 2%, but I don't think that's very important. 2 times EXP is also pretty negligible, since story quests are the majority of grinding, at least from level 1 to level 30. One last thing that costs Robux is to increase your inventory space. Now, this one initially shocks a lot of players. Yes, it's a little bit unnecessary, but that being the case, you can also store your items at the main city in sort of a storage bank as well. In conclusion, in my opinion, I don't think the game is pay to win in a way that is game breaking. Almost everything accessible through Robux can be obtained in game just by playing through the main storyline. A lot of the items can't be bought outright either, and do have to be rolled for or obtained as drops if you don't include the game pass. I honestly wouldn't let the in-game purchases get in the way of you enjoying the game. If you play and progress as normal, you're bound to obtain legendary items that can't just be bought for Robux, and you'd probably obtain them sooner than they could be reached on the battle pass as well. I'm mostly making this video as a place for people to discuss in the comments, so please leave a comment down below showing your thoughts on pay to win in Devas of Creation. Did I miss something, or do you disagree with me? If so, then leave a comment down below showing your thoughts, and I'll make sure to read it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.